So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, race 3 of event 2, your final split of the weekend's run-ins, and we have Brocky who leads the way from Lollipops and PTX. Lollipops there 1 second behind in the Audi from Brocky. Brocky is your winner from last week. He's leading the way this week. As we look further down the field, RTI 10, he's there in P4, Ant's in P5, RTI Try is in P6, so we've got two RTI guys. We've got TSR, GT Welsh. TSR GT Welsh in P7 in the Aston Martin. Few Astons running this race. This race has got a good selection of cars in. First time I've seen the Lambo in an SOP Motorsport race. First time I've seen a BMW with this big gaggle of cars here battling over 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. This is brilliant to see. Ghost Stops down there in 15th. He must have had some problems early on because he was a fast runner in qualifying. Isaac 17th, Gingerbread 18th, the main plate 19th, and Man United for Love, he's at the rear of the field. Something's gone wrong with him because he's usually at the front of the pack. He's trying a different strategy, it looks like, from these two guys, and they both pitted already. Their pit board's green, the main plate and Man United for Love, they're towing each other around the track. They've got some clear air. They're going to hope they can put some qualifying laps in and bring themselves right back through the field when the pit stops come into play. But Brocky is leading the way, 0.7 ahead of Lollipops. Can Lollipops challenge him for the race win? In today's event, Brocky lapped everybody up to second place in last week's race. You got PTX running in third, RTI right behind him. He's in P4 in the Ferrari. You then got a Bentley up the inside. RTI and Ant having a good old battle here. Two Bentleys side by side, round turn 3, into turn 4, into the tunnel they go. RTI Try, he's holding that position from Ant there in the number 16 Bentley, 0.2 seconds behind as they battle for P5. This one, we'll stick with this battle for now, as just ahead we've got another good battle going on, with the front two runners and riders now. Brocky, Lollipop, 0.5 seconds. That's slipstream territory. Is Lollipop's going to get him on the back straight? He doesn't have the legs this time round though. Into the braking zone they go, into the tight chicane. Is the Audi more planted than the Porsche? The Audi sandwiched between two Porsches of Brocky and PTX here. 5, 10, 11. There are your race numbers from the top three, separated by 2 seconds. 0.3 though is Lollipops behind Brocky. He's going to have the slipstream down the back straight for the race lead. We'll follow on board with Lollipops. He's going to get it done. Who gets the better exit? Brocky leads him round for another lap. Here's Lollipops in enough of a slipstream to close that gap on this lap and get him up the inside. 0.6 is the gap. He isn't going to have the legs this time round. PTX there in third. RTI Try and Ant having a good old battle there. Bentley on Bentley action once again in this race. 0.3 seconds separate those two, with GT Welsh a bit further behind in the Aston Martin. We've got RTI 10 in the Ferrari, the highest placed Ferrari of the three in the race so far. Texas is having a much better outing this time round after he was right at the back of the pack of race 2. He's joined in on race 3 also. This week is Texas in P8. Antonelli there running another Aston Martin. That's a lovely yellow livery there from Antonelli, the number 100 machine. Kesherid's there in the Lexus. The Lexus hasn't fared well around Barcelona this week, and Defoe's chasing in the Lambo. To be fair, it's very nice to see a Lambo in the race. People tend to avoid the Lambo because it is a bit leery to get on top of. You got Sully and Barbosa, they're fighting over P12 and P13, Porsche and Ferrari. 868 against number 17 car. PTX Barbosa looking at the inside. Round the fast right hander they go. He's got the slipstream down the back straight. Is Sully going to go defensive? No, he doesn't. Barbosa's up the inside. Into the chicane they go. Sully seems to have let him past in the push. Has he just given that place to Barbosa? Has he thought better of it? Better off not. Oh, Barbosa's gone wide. Sully's back up the inside. Sully's back up to P12. He's regained that position. Barbosa drops back down, and as those two battle, oh, he's gone wide. Sully's gone wide. Barbosa's back through. What's going on here? Ferrari and Porsche. I'm a right old ding dong. Barbosa's up the inside of Sully. And as I've been focusing on this battle, Brocky's pulled away. He's got the 1 second gap at the front. But these three runners and riders are pulling away from the rest of the field then. Brocky's pulling Lollipop. Lollipop pulling PTX. The top three pulling away. RTI and ANT. They're having a good old battle for 4th and 5th. That's why the top three are getting away. They're 5 seconds further down the field. GT Welsh in a battle of his own. RTI there in P7, Texas P8, Antonelli P9, Cashier's holding that P10, as Defoe is running P11 in the Lambo, right on the tail of Kershid in the Lexus, it must be said. Barbosa's now pulled away from Sully, and Sully's dropped another place as S1 Ghost Stops has got through into P13, the Sector 1 driver, all the way from Australia. It's very early for him in the morning, on the other side of the world. The same as Brocky and S1 Ghost Stops. They're both from Australia, and they've got up nice and early for this SOP Motorsport event. 6:30 they logged in. Nice to see that from the Australians, one of them leading the way. As we look to the rear of the field, Shabosh in the BMW. Nice to see a BMW. He's already completed his pit stop also. So the three at the back of the field have completed their pit stop. Man United, the main plate, and Shabosh. CSX Isaac in the Bentley, up against Safaria in the Audi, the 15th and 16th place. Sully just in front of those two. S1 a bit further back in the Porsche, with Barbosa just coming around the final turn now. Turn 16, onto the pit lane straight he goes in the Ferrari, number 17. As we turn our attention back to the lead trio then, Brocky isn't getting away today. He's only gotten, oh, Lollipops has dropped back down then, has he? Lollipops has made a mistake because PTX Cougars seems to have made a way through. That's what my timing screen's saying. Lollipops dropped right back down to 5th, unless I've missed something and he's completed a pit stop, but his pit board hasn't gone green, so he must have made a mistake. He's pushing hard in the Audi, and he's dropped it, he's lost it, he's down in 5th. Brocky's challenge once again has gone, but PTX is closing. He's 2.4 seconds back. Can he claw that gap back in as the race progresses? 35 minutes left in the race. Track temperature once again all the way up at 42 degrees here at Circuit de Catalunya. 2.1 now is the gap between Brocky and PTX Guga. Both in Porsches running first and second, which is nice to see, as Brocky is, there he is, already on lap number 5. He's coming round to lap the back marker of Shabosh in P18. We've already lost 2 riders here. We did have a 20 runners and riders. It was a full grid, 2 of them have gone. But Brocky comes round to complete another lap as Shabosh does move out the way. He's got the blue flags waving, so he's going to know Brocky's there waiting, as PTX is closely following by. 1.5 seconds now is the gap to Brocky, so that gap is coming down rapidly as RTI Tribal moves up into 3rd in the Bentley, as does Ant move up to P4 in the 2nd Bentley. Your 2 Bentleys running P3 and P4 in race 3 of event number 2 with SOP Motorsports. Lollipop's there back in 5th then. He was an early challenger for the lead, but I missed his little incident. He must have lost it, as GT Welsh now is climbing all over the back of him. Only 1 second separates him from P5, as RTI Term is closely following GT Welsh also. Texas a bit further back in P8. Antonelli in P9. The Italian Cashard running there in the Lexus, the lone Lexus in P10. Defoe 778 in the Lambo. These guys aren't really making much progress with one another now. A nice gap between them all, but as I say that, Defoe is on the back of Kershaw. Is he going to make a move? Can he make it stick? As we look further to the rear of the field now, S1 go stops. Safaria, Sully, Man United, the main plate and Shabosh completes your runners and riders. One lap down is Shabosh now because Brocky has lapped him. Brocky now 1.4 is the gap from PTX, who's in second place. Porsche running first and second, Bentley running third and fourth. Shabosh sandwiched between them all as your back marker in P18. And even though Shabosh is running at the back, it is nice to see a BMW. It is nice to see drivers choosing different options rather than your Porsches and your Ferraris and your Bentleys, because they are the most popular cars in ACC right now. They're the ones that people seem to get on top of the most, seem to find the most pace from. So it's nice to see someone trying something different. As Defoe pits in his Lamborghini, he's making his mandatory pit stop. As the Bentleys are running really close together in this split 3 race, RTI and ANT, nothing separates them half a second. All it takes is one mistake. As ANT gets it really wide on the exit, uses all the curve available. He's trying to get up to the back end of RTI Tribal. He wants to make a pass, he wants that P3, he wants that final podium position, as 1.4 seconds separate PTX and Brocky at the front of the field. The number 5 machine against the number 11, and it's down to under a second. Look at this, PTX is reeling them in. Brocky hasn't had to feel this type of pressure in a race within SOP Motorsport events so far. Can he deal with the pressure? Can he deal with someone breathing down his neck? The gap looks to be less than half a second. He's in the slipstream, it seems, as Brocky and PTX come round the final turn once again. Has he got the slipstream? Is he close enough to make a move? We'll stick on board with PTX in P2. He isn't close enough yet, ladies and gentlemen, as RTI and ANT are 6 seconds back then in the 2 Bentleys. Lollipop seems to have settled back into P5 now. He stabilised himself in the Audi. GT Welsh 1.6 seconds further back, having a much better race this time round. He's another one that was in race 2 of SOP Motorsport events. He's decided to join in race 3 because he didn't have a very good outing, and he's closely followed by RTI Tum. He's only 0.9 seconds behind him. Another 4 seconds back is Texas in the purple and pink Porsche with the number 100 Antonelli 8.7 seconds back in the Aston Martin. In a race of his own there is the Italian. He's got a good gap between Keshed, and he's not quite close enough to Texas. He's got 4 seconds between them both, so he just needs to keep it clean. Something might come to him as the race unfolds. We've still got half an hour to go, as the gap once again on lap 8 with the leaders is 0.8 seconds. It seems that Brocky has the legs in the first half of the circuit de Catalunya. He seems to have the better traction, the better control, seems to have it more optimised for his liking. And then the second half of the track, it seems PTX seems to close right up on him. So this is going to be an interesting battle between these two. They both got their strengths, they both got their weaknesses. Depends which one pits first, it depends which fuel, how high fuel they're running, how low fuel they're running. The pit strategy is going to be everything. Again, that's something we don't know. Myself as a commentator doesn't know. Brocky could be fueled to go right to the end. Ku could be light as a feather, which is why he's been keeping up with Brocky As such, nothing to take away from PTX Cougar, by the way. He's holding his own there. The guys have got 5 seconds on RTI Tribal in the Bentley. So those two are falling behind the front two now. Lollipop's right behind them. As GT Welsh is coming under a bit of pressure now. 0.4 seconds separate him and RTI Temjost. Texas just behind that. So we'll stick on board with P6 and P7 for now. They come around the fast right-hander. There's going to be an opportunity for the slipstream from RTI. Is he close enough to close the gap? Not this time round, it seems. GT Welsh has got the measure of his competitor. As the gap now to the front is only 0.4 seconds. PTX does seem to have the edge in the latter stages of a lap. But Brocky comes back round. Who's going to have the better exit? Who's going to have the drive? Who's looking after their tyres? As they move on to lap number 10. 0.7 is the gap once again. Brocky just gets that better exit out of turn 16. He stops PTX getting too close to him in that slipstream to make a move. As Sully is now in the pits. A luminous green Porsche there making his pit stop. Something's happened with Shabosh because he is over 1 minute behind the leaders now. But there's a bit of a pattern forming here now. The bottom half of the table are all completing their pit stops nice and early. Man United Philip is normally a front runner, but he's had that clean air the whole race. No one's disturbed him. He's just made his pit stop and he's getting on with it. He's putting in those qualifying laps. And there's a stop and go penalty for Sully. He's been speeding in the pit lane as Man United Philip comes past him on the outside then. So Man United Philip is the front runners of the pit stops. Stop and go penalty for Sully. He's going to be serving that in the next 3 laps. As the Audi of Safaria is breathing down the neck of S1 Go stops. In the Porsche, the number 25 Porsche being challenged by the number 24 Audi. 1 second separate these two, just outside the top 10. PTX Barbosa just in front of those. Cashid makes the top 10. Antonelli out on his own in the Aston. But Brocky once again completes 1 more lap. 0.6 separates them. Doesn't need to defend the inside line yet, does Brocky? He's just got the measure of PTX at the minute. We'll stick on board for a whole lap with the front 2 runners. And let's see where their strengths and weaknesses lie. So Brocky, the 2 Porsches are nice and tidy, nice and smooth. They seem to keep it clean. Maybe PTX Cougar is just biding his time. He's just sat behind. He's thinking... Brocky gets it all wobbly there out of turn 4. PTX is right on his tail now. He's looking for a move. Brocky a bit unstable in the Porsche this weekend. Has he lost those tyres? Has the grip gone away? Has the rubber faded? Has he lost the momentum? Is he as comfortable as PTX in the Porsche now? As that fuel burns off, the front gets loose, the front gets light. It's really much a battle of these Porsches and PTX is breathing down his neck. Come on Brocky, get out of the way. PTX wants that P1 position. They're pushing each other along. The gap gone up to 7 seconds now from ANT, who's found a way past RTI Tribal. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, I missed that battle. 0.7 is the gap between them. ANT has found a way past. Lollipop's closed up to the back of those two now. They must have been battling long and hard because the Audi's closed right up to the back of them. 0.2 is the gap. He's got the slipstream. PTX Cougar, let's go back to the leaders. Brocky's defending the inside. Is he defending it enough? PTX has a look. He has to back out. He's on the outside. He's going to be up on the inside. Who's going to have the better position in? He's looking at the inside PTX. Brocky up the inside on the turn 3. Round they go for another lap. Up the hill they climb. Who's got the better traction? Who's got better exit? Under the bridge they go. Up to turn 4. PTX looking for a way round the outside. He's trying to get back up the inside. Can he make it stick? Can he make it stick? Has he made the move? Brocky's all over the place. What's going on, Brocky? He's conceded the lead. Brocky has conceded the lead. PTX takes up the P1. Wow, guys, what a battle we've had. PTX has just sat behind closely, following Brocky for the last 12 laps. He's made a move. He's decided on lap 12, this is going to be it. Can he pull away from Brocky there? In second place now. Brocky may decide to pit, try and get the undercut. 0.7 already is the gap to PTX. So PTX really putting the hammer down in the number 11 machine. Like I said, Brocky lapped everybody bar P2 in last week's race, so he didn't come under any pressure whatsoever. But today he's felt pressure and he's lost the lead, ladies and gentlemen. PTX is taking up the running, but can Brocky fight back there? He's 0.8 behind. He's still in the slipstream. He can still hold on to PTX. As ANT now only 5 seconds behind because those two are battling up front. As Keshett leaves the pits in his Lexus. And he's in between the two Bentleys now, battling for P3 and P4. RTI Tribal's going to want to get him out the way. He's cleared in, the blue flags were shown. He's done the right thing, that was sportsmanlike. Keshett, he's got out the way. Those two can resume battle for the Bentleys. As RTI is holding that P5 position now. He's 1.4 seconds ahead of GT Welsh in that P6 position. Lollipops is finally in the pits then. He's come into the pits from P5. He was right on the back of those Bentleys then, wasn't he? He decided against going against those Bentleys, and he's pitted for fresh tyres possibly. Splash and dash, he's going to the end, some clean in now. As Man United for Love is looking to go around the outside. So Man United for Love's race coming right back to him. Because Lollipops was running P5, so Man United for Love looks to have netted a P5 at the minute, but he's always going to have Lollipops breathing down his neck. He's got to get those tyres heated up as Lollipops. He's just fresh out the pits. Man United for Love is in a groove and he's making moves. S1 Ghost is holding P11 then, just outside the top 10, as we got a battle against PTX Barbosa and Safaria. Will ride on board with the Audi driver. Can he close? He's 0.7 behind Barbosa. Can he make it happen? Barbosa's just got enough space between him and Safaria at the minute. He doesn't need to worry. But Brocky isn't losing touch of the leader. PTX Google 0.5 seconds between the two of them in a race of their own out in front. They're on another level, these two Porsches, aren't they? Almost 6 seconds clear now of the Bentley. 14 laps complete, 20 minutes remaining. Maximum grip, high temperatures in Barcelona. As things are settling down a bit further down the field then. ANT's comfortably in third. GT Welsh has got a net P4 right now, with Texas having a much better run this time out. He was down in as low as I think 15th place in race 2. Up to P5 he is in race 3 then, 7.4 seconds behind GT Welsh. RTI has made his pit stop however, and he's going to be breathing down his neck very soon. So you've got RTI Tribal, RTI 10 running P6, P7. As Antonelli is leaving the pits, he's made his mandatory pit stop. We haven't focused too much on the pit stops this race, ladies and gentlemen. We've tried to keep with the onboard action. as PTX at the front has pulled out that second gap then to Brocky. He's losing the slipstream, he doesn't want Brocky anywhere near him. As ANT comes into the pits from P3. So GT Welsh is in the pits also, so everybody's making a pit stop. 18 minutes to go. Texas is in also. This is where we're really going to see what net positions people are running in. RTI and Man United for the lollipops. This is going to be a brilliant battle for podium or top 5 positions here. RTI Tribal then in P8 is the leader of the pit stop runners right now. Man United for Love 1.9 seconds further back in the 912 Porsche. Lollipops in the number 10 Audi. Only half a second separates him and Man United. As they come around the final chicane. The final turn, turn 16. Who gets the best exit? Is he going to have slipstream this time round? He doesn't seem close enough. But look at the gaggle of cars just up ahead here. We got S1 Ghost running in P6 still to make a pit stop. We got Tribal, RTI Tribal in P7, Man United in P8, Lollipops in P9, and Safaria just coming into the pits in P10. And we got a stop and go penalty. GT Welsh, he's got a stop and go penalty. He would have been speeding in the pit lane then. That's not good news for GT Welsh. Once again, a race has gone away from him. He was running in a solid P6. The Ferrari of the main plate has just got past him then. So it's all gone wrong for the TSR boys in race event number 2 at SOP Motorsports. TSR Wake had his pit stop problems from the lead in race 2. GT Welsh has had his pit stop problems from the race here in race 3. As PTX is on lap 16 with 16 minutes to go. His gap to Brocky is 2.3. Brocky is well and truly dropped off the pace. As ANT is just behind in P3. He has made a pit stop. He's made a pit stop. So is he going to come out in front of Brocky and PTX? Are the guys in the Porsche just running too long? Is ANT going to be able to close that 5-second gap to the guys in front? Only time will tell. As we got a bit of a ding-dong battle then. S1's pushed off the track. RTI Tribal, he's lost it. S1 Ghost has lost it. What's going on there then? S1 Ghost is coming into the pits. There's a bit of a ding-dong battle going on then. RTI Tribal, Man United for Love, Lollipops. They're all gaggled together. This is a battle 4P4 at the minute. S1 Ghost isn't going to be happy about that. RTI Tribal forcing his way through around the chicanes. But he does now have Man United breathing down his neck for that P4 position. Hugging the title line there is Man United for Love. Can he find a way past? The two Bentleys have completed their pit stops running in P3 and P4. We got Brocky heading P2 has come into the pits then, as is PTX. They followed each other in as Brocky's getting it all wrong on the pit entry, unless that's just connection issues from Australia. But PTX and Brocky then both in the pits. They're going to be coming out side by side. Let's watch this pit stop, ladies and gentlemen, because are they splash and dash? Are they putting on new rubber? Who's got to fuel the most? This pit stop strategy will show how fast each of them were running. As PTX is first to go, splash and dash. He's off the jacks, he's out in the blocks. Brocky is closely followed behind. GT Welsh is serving his stop and go at the same time in P14 now. So what is the gap as they exit the pits? 2.1 seconds still seems to be the gap. They entered together, they exited together, and the gap has remained the same then. Can Brocky closing back in towards the end of the race? 14 minutes if he wants to win this one. 45 seconds is the gap from ANT then. The P3 Bentley, those two out in front have been miles ahead, PTX and Brocky. There we go, the timing screens have updated. 4.7 seconds is Brocky behind PTX then. 5 seconds to pull back with 13 minutes to go. Can he do it? They're in identical machinery, so it's all down to the driver to make it happen. The Bentleys resume P3 and P4, albeit swapped the other way around because RTI Tribal was running P3 earlier in the race, but he's now getting swamped by Man United for Love and Lollipops. This is the battle for P4, ladies and gentlemen. We got Bentley, we got Porsche, we got Audi. It's great to see so many manufacturers battling it out for these top positions. With RTI in the lone Ferrari. Not the lone Ferrari, sorry. There's 3 Ferraris in this one. That was the last race. I'm getting myself confused, ladies and gentlemen. RTI 10 in P7 in the Ferrari. He's got 15 seconds over Antonelli in the Aston. Texas in the Porsche. And Safaria rounding out the top 10 in the Audi. Defoe's held P11 for most of the race in the Lambo. And Ghost Stops is still in the pits. He's serving his stop and go. But Keshard in the Lexus. He's some 23 seconds behind P11. And PTX Barbosa is breathing down his neck then. We've only got 17 runners and riders left here now, ladies and gentlemen. Slowly bringing up the rear in the luminous green 868 Porsche. GTR Welsh back in the pits. He seems to be retiring. It hasn't gone his way once again. He was running in the top 5 positions early on. He looks to be coming in. He must be retiring that car as Ghost Stops comes back out. He's completed a stop and go. It hasn't happened for Ghost Stops today. The Australian woke up at 6:30 for this race, but he finds himself at the rear of the field. As we turn our attention back to the front then, PTX is just pulling and pulling and pulling. 5.3 is the gap between him and Brocky. Brocky seems to have settled in for P2 here at Circuit de Catalunya, as 10 seconds further back you have ANT in a comfortable P3 now then, because RTI Tribal is under all sorts of pressure from Man United for Love. 0.9 is the gap, under a second then. They're in the slipstream as Man United. Lollipops has dropped off. Something's going on again between those as Lollipops has dropped away from Man United. 3 seconds is the gap. There is 0.7 then is Man United from RTI Tribal as they come back up the hill. Watch the undulation of that right-hander. Watch the sausage curbs coming through these final chicanes. Who's going to keep it smoothest? Who's going to have the better exit? Is he going to have the slipstream Man United on RTI Tribal down the pit lane straight? The Bentley has some grunt in it though, hasn't it? He's got brilliant straight line speed as the Bentley. But you got Porsche running first, second and fifth. Bentley in between that lot. As Man United isn't quite close enough, they're in P5, still 0.7 behind. Lollipop 3.3 further behind that then, as RTI is just coming across the line to complete lap 19. But as we ride on board with the leader, PTX Guga, he waited patiently early on in the race. He sat behind Brocky. And he's unleashed his true pace now after the pit stops. He managed to get ahead of Brocky cleanly, and he just pulled away at the front of the field. Fair play to PTX Guga in the number 11 machine. 5.6 is the gap behind the Brocky now. That's your 1 and 2. 8 seconds further back is ANT in the number 16 Bentley. RTI Tribal still under pressure from Man United then. This is the battle to watch. 4P4. 0.8 is the gap. Man United seems to be better in this final sector of Circuit de Catalunya. He just needs to get that exit of turn 16 nailed, and he will be right on the bumper of RTI Tribal coming into turn 1. As Texas in P8 then comes round the chicane. Safaria, nice gap to Safaria, nice gap to Antonelli, and nice gap to Defoe. These guys battling out for P10. All spread out nice and evenly, a couple of seconds between each one of them then. But Barbosa once again is right on the tail of Kershid. This is a good battle at the rear end of the field, ladies and gentlemen. Ferrari versus Lexus, number 42 versus number 17. 0.4 separates these two in P12 and P13 with 8 minutes to go. As PTX Cougar comes on to lap 20. And PTX Cougar now coming up to some back markers. Got Sully in P17 2 laps down. You should let PTX Cougar by. The blue flags will be waving. They're coming up to the pit lane straight. That'll be a perfect opportunity just to wave them on by. I don't want any of that. You go by, you're the race leader. I don't want to ruin your race. So as we run through the 17 drivers left here today in split 3, PTX Cougar is your race leader. Brocky is in P2, 5.8 seconds further down the field, followed by ANT in the number 16 Bentley. RTI Tribal and Man United for Leather going hell for leather here. Porsche against Bentley, 0.2 seconds separates them. Round turn 2, up round turn 3. Man United looking for the outside, looking for the switchback up the inside. RTI goes a bit wide. Has he got the legs? He's got the legs over Man United for now. Under the bridge into turn 4 they go. Man United will have looking away past. Only 0.2 separates these two then. He's trying to get RTI Tribal to make a mistake. RTI looking to defend. He's hugging that inside line, isn't he? RTI, Man United all over the back of him then. Here's going to make a move down this back straight into the hairpin. Can he be a late breaker? Can he get the slipstream? Has he got a good exit? He just hasn't got the legs to get that Bentley, has he? 0.4 is the gap as they make their way up to the final sequence of corners. The Bentley is a big machine, mind, isn't it? You can't really overtake a Bentley in these tight chicanes. Gotta watch for the sausage curbs. Man United for love, using every inch of the track here to try and extract maximum power, maximum traction, trying to get a good exit. Right on board with these two once more as they complete another lap. 0.7 is the gap. That Bentley just has brilliant traction out of that final turn. Man United for love just cannot get close enough to him. As we look a bit further down the field, what's going on with Barbosa? He's still only 0.5 behind Kashid. He's trying to make a move. As Defoe has another stop and go penalty. He must have been speeding in the pit lane. He dropped down to P14 then. He was hovering on the top 10 bubble as ANT has just got past him, so he's just been lapped by one of the front runners. As Brocky's now just in a race of his own. He's just got to bring the car home. 4 minutes remaining. PTX Cougar's got to do the same. You got Porsche running first and second, Bentley third and fourth. With Man United, he's just dropped back now from RTI, 1.1 seconds. Maybe he's going to challenge him with 3 minutes to go. He's just letting his brakes cool, letting his tyres cool. He'll have one more challenge now before the race is finished. Unless Lollipop has just found some pace then. in the Audi has come alive at the end of the race with 3 minutes to go, and he's pulled the gap to 1.3 seconds. Man United for Lev did take that early stop on lap 1 or 2. He was right at the rear of the field early on. It just doesn't seem to have paid off for him now, does it? He's now dropping behind RTI Tribal quite a bit. He's had to do a full stint, full fuel from the beginning of the race on those tyres. So they must be burnt up, they must be screaming, they must be at the end of their life, as he has well and truly dropped back from RTI Tribal now. So you got all the 7s as ANT gets a bit wobbly. You got 7 seconds from Brocky, 7 seconds from ANT, 7 seconds from RTI. 5 seconds further back is Man United. He seems to be settled in P5 now. He just needs to watch Lollipops behind him, doesn't get too close as Lollipops gets a bit sideways. Everybody's tyres are hurting. Texas running P8 in the pink machine. The number 64 Porsche. Safaria then, the 2 Audis in the top 10. And Antonelli all the way from Italy. He's rounding out the top 10. In the Aston Martin. As we just go to the rear of the field, we'll have a look what Sully's doing. He's got Brocky right behind him now. He's moved over, he's had the blue flags, he's let Brocky through, that's a good thing to do. Defoe's dropped down the order again. He still hasn't cleared that stop and go penalty. And it's just unfortunate for GT Welsh. He was running right at the top of the field. He just hasn't had any luck this week in SOP Motorsport. The same could be said with S1 Ghost. He's had to have a stop and go penalty. A lot of people just seem to be getting some problems with these pit stops, the mandatory pit stops. Either they're missing the pit lane speed limiter on entry, or they're just not completing mandatory pit stops properly. But as we go back up through the field then, the Boza's right on the back of Keshe for P11 and P12, 0.5 separates those two. They've been battling all race, those two, P11 and P12. As Keshe gets it all wide then, Barbosa's up the inside, into P11 he goes. Barbosa's made the way through, he's going to be pulling the gap then. Keshe's tyres are dead. Less than a minute to go. He's on lap number 24 as PTX. 8 seconds behind is Brocky, 5 further behind is ANT. That's your top 3, that looks like is how he's going to finish. 7 seconds further behind is RTI Tribal, 20 seconds to go. Man United for Love is holding that P5 with Lollipops is closing in on him, 1.7 seconds. One more lap to go, is there? No, that's the race leader has finished. P1 PTX Guga. What a brilliant drive in the number 11 Porsche there. Nice and composed to take the win over Brocky, who comes home P2. ANT brings it home in P3 for Bentley then. That's your top 3 podium, Cougar, Brocky and ANT. Tribal brings it home in P4. Man United for Love after that early pit stop. He seems happy with P5. He slides across the finish line there. Lollipop takes P6. RTI Tem comes across the finish line. He exits turn 16 to take the checkered flag in P7. S1 Ghost stops. Here's a lap down, so he isn't going to be able to finish any more laps. Texas coming round in P8 then. He's going to take the flag. And you just got your other runners and riders just a bit further down. They're coming round to complete their final lap. The final chicanes. I'd just like to take this opportunity, guys, to thank each and every one of you that's tuned into SOP Motorsports tonight. It's been fantastic coverage from split 1, 2 and 3. Some fantastic racing, some fast and furious racing. The Bentleys there embracing P3 and P4 together, it seems. If you haven't done so already, just subscribe to the channel. We're live every week, bringing you a different race event each week. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you again next time.